started out roping. That's kind of what his dad did. He kind of helped him bulldog, but he was really sort of self-taught. He was definitely never shy or afraid to ask, anybody for help.
Rodeo is a young man's sport. Most guys at the finals are probably 25 to 30. For being, what is he, 40? He's still out there practicing every day, every chance that he can, and breaking the sport down.
He was really one of the first people that really believed in me. He gave me a lot of confidence in myself.
Hard work. Yeah, he's definitely the hardest working person I know in the steer wrestling.
The people you meet and the places you see have been the amazing part of rodeo. I probably still rodeo because I like making horses and I like seeing stuff. I go with a lot of younger people. I think part of it's to keep me young, because I'm not anymore in the rodeo world. It's one of those things, man, like winning is the most addictive thing I've ever had in my whole life. And I don't really know where I'll go when that ends. Rodeo can be stressful. And the simplest way for everybody to think about it is you're an independent contractor. Nobody tells you where to go or when to be there or what you do. And everybody can look in a book and say, well, I'm going to go to all the rodeos that add the most money. But sometimes that's not the way to make the most money.
Oh, it feels outstanding, especially after a long drought. You get a paycheck, heck yeah, let's go. Let's enter up as much as we can.
I guess I keep doing it because of the adrenaline rush, knowing that every time I go out there, it's going to get my heart racing. And there's a good chance that, you can definitely win a good pile of money out of the right rodeos you enter. It's something you can't get into half-hearted because you can seriously get hurt. No matter what event you do, how we put it in the rodeo world, there's a lot of wolves out there that are going to take your money because they do this for a living. It's not like the NFL or hockey or anything like that. You're not guaranteed a paycheck. You got to bust your ass to get paid.
All right. You need to be at the very top of your game every time you run. Your horse needs to be at the very top of his game every time that you're entered. And you need to hope that that steer that you have is at the top of his that day, or that you can guess what's fixing to happen. You have to look at it that way and go on, because like we said earlier, you're going to lose a lot more than you win. Man, good traveling partners are a must. Probably everybody's had a bad relationship in life, and they had a girlfriend or they had a boyfriend that just didn't work out. Well, now take that and lock it in a trailer with a 9-foot short wall and tell it it's got to last for 6 months. And you better hope you picked well, because if you didn't, you'll find out in a hurry and you will hate yourself when you're done.
I met Matt in 2015. I was going to college and he lived about an hour and a half down the road. So I called him up one day and wanted to go and practice with him and learn from him. We winter rodeoed in Texas, Mississippi and stuff together in the South, and then we started to head north together, rodeoing pretty much, and we've been doing that up until now.
I met Matt probably in 2015. Was my first year kind of down here rodeoing. So he introduced me to everybody and all the guys that were making the finals and doing good and previously done good. So I think that's when I first met him. In 2016, we kind of we started going a little harder, and I was with a younger group of guys, so we were asking all them guys like Matt, we were asking them all for advice, and they were helping us along the way.
If you can get a lot of guys that all kind of pull in the same direction, it's great. And you need somebody that, there better be somebody in it that's there to pump you up, because you're going to need it every now and then.
Matt's time 16 flat, 16.0.
You're going to lose more than you win. And that's the hardest thing to do. I mean, if you can find somebody, if somebody can bat 400 in the major leagues, they can make millions and millions of dollars. And you need to bat 400 really in this just to make a living at all. You have to have a group of guys that can handle it and get along, and everybody has to pull their weight and drive or do whatever they do right.
Definitely some of the highs is winning, doing good, you know. You can get on a hot streak and be winning everywhere. Your confidence is up, and then you do bad somewhere, and then your confidence is low, and you can't seem to fully check anywhere, and it gets hard. I mean, if you got a bunch of rodeos coming up in a week, you can spend $1,400-1,500 just in fees, and then plus fuel, so it's $2,000. It's expensive to go to, especially if you're not winning, and that's hard to overcome. You got guys all the time, backing in the box. You don't see them because you're focused, but you can always hear guys saying, "Come on, Walt, make a run." Everybody's supporting you, even though we're competing against each other. We're all supporting each other and wanting each other to do good.
Yeah, rodeo is a friendly competition, is what I call it. We're out there and we're trying to win first and stuff, or place, because that's how we make our money. But we're also out there with all our buddies and knowing that that's how they make their money too. So we're going to help them get the best chance they have to win. Matty's a good example. He got 2 good hazing horses, and he took on a whole crew of us that were kind of without a hazer, and he took us in, and he may be out there winning first when I'm up, but he's going to haze that steer and try and help me win first. So that's how rodeo is.
Right now, Minnesota Cowboy has got it.
I'll give them all the wisdom I can the other ways, and I have good horses, so I have something to bring to the table. As long as everybody brings something to the table, it works good. But the people you meet and the places you see have been the amazing part of rodeo. I probably still rodeo because I like making horses and I like seeing stuff. And if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't necessarily stay gone as much. But it's still a lot of fun because of that. I grew up, I lived basically right next to my dad's parents, and we grew up out on a farm and ranch. We ran some cattle, did that, farmed, grew hay grazer in the summer so that we put up tons of hay. It's most of the older people will understand. We put up tons of square bales. I started out in junior rodeos right there as a little kid. I didn't grow up in a rodeo family necessarily. My dad roped some calves and team roped and stuff, but it's not like he rodeoed like I do. This was all new. It was a very odd, different endeavor that I took up. When I started in 2006, 2007, I went to 100 and I think it was 23 rodeos. It was ridiculous, but I was single and I was young, and I was eat up with it. I don't do that anymore, period.
We actually met rodeoing. Matt was rodeoing with my father at the time. So he was rodeoing with him and Brent Arnold, who is sort of like my godfather anyway. And so I met him with them when they were rodeoing together.
In 2006, I lived in Amarillo, Texas, and I needed to get to Los Fresnos, Texas, which, if nobody knows, is a long ways from Amarillo.
So Matt was rodeoing at the time, and he was living in the Panhandle, came down here, and he started riding Brent Arnold's horse.
And I called a man named Brent Arnold because he and Sam King were up at the rodeo the same day I was on Sunday. So I went down and practiced at Coleman, Texas on Saturday. It was somewhat of a disaster with these guys, but Sam showed up in the middle of the night, and we left at like 2 in the morning and drove to Los Fresnos. And it's odd because all that happened because I needed a ride to a rodeo, and Sam is my father-in-law now. And I met Savannah while rodeoing with him. Never had met her before ever. or anything else?
First impression. I guess maybe they say opposites attract. I'd say we're definitely opposite. I'm definitely more shy, not very outgoing, and that is not Matt. He is very outgoing, will talk to anybody and likes to talk, and we'll talk for hours.
Oh, she hit the lottery. It's one of those things. It's not the major Mega Millions, but I mean, sure enough, a small dollar scratcher. She's a big winner. I like to tell people that. She hit the lottery. Not the big one, but at least a small scratcher. Life has changed a lot since we got together.
Mama.
I discovered quickly when we got married, the more stuff we had, the more things that were going on. You never know what it's going to be. And the more stuff you get, the busier you get. And then if you decide you want to throw some kids in it, it's something. You throw one kid in it and you think, man, I'm busy. And then if you accidentally have another kid, I love our child, you find out how busy you weren't. And I say it like that because, man, you get really busy. 2 kids is a full-time job. And my wife has it by herself a lot. I don't think you're supposed to sit with Mom.
But I want to sit with her.
You'll be on camera too if you want.
Okay.
You can have the spotlight all to yourself.
Okay.
Say, I combed my hair this morning for it.
I comb my hair.
We have 2 boys, Carson and Hudson, and they're something. Taking Carson is a challenge. I wasn't necessarily allowed to take off with him alone until last fall. In October, we had had Hudson in September, and I kind of didn't care if I went. And Walt and I, he's 20 now, but he was 19. He entered us up, and we went to the rodeos, and we took Carson the first weekend. And Carson had a ball, but you learn how difficult it can be quickly, because there's no one there to watch him. At the first rodeo we go to, Rosenberg, Texas, there's supposed to be these people there that are going to help me watch my child while we bulldog right quick because I'm mounting their son-in-law. And they were running behind in traffic, and I had to put him in a sheep pen right next to the fence. And I told him to watch the bulldogging, and I went and ran a steer and hazed 4 others, and then went and got my child back out of the sheep pen. There weren't sheep in it yet, but it's where they were going to put the button busting sheep. But luckily he didn't climb out. He stayed there, and it was just fine, and he had a ball.
I think Matt's an awesome dad.
And the box is in all your hands.
Did you poop your pants?
No.
Okay.
The boys, love him, and I think it's definitely, changed him as far as some of his priorities in life. I mean, obviously he still loves rodeo, but it's definitely made it a lot harder for him to leave, and be gone like he used to. He would do anything for them, and, when they get older, I'm sure that he will, teach them and mentor them just like he does, the other kids.
He wants a donut. You want a plain donut?
Let's see. Well, Matt's dad, he started out roping. That's kind of what his dad did. So Matt's dad, helped him do that. And then he kind of helped him bulldog, but he was really sort of self-taught. I know he went to a rope Myers school, and then he, got with Brent Arnold and my dad, and they helped him. And but he was really kind of self-taught, but he was definitely never shy or afraid to ask, anybody for help. And he is very analytical and will watch runs of other people himself, and he has critiqued himself, to the point in other people's runs in order to improve himself and, learn how to be the best he can be.
When I feel like he was staying in his lane. When I feel like it, I want to step. When he felt like he just felt in a bind. Yeah, no, darn it. Whenever anything goes wrong, go forward and down. Just like we do at the house, just like you're doing with this. Well, then he couldn't get off, and then the horse ain't gonna come in no more. Get over him here where you can be there, boom.
Sometimes we have to tell him, just stop, that's enough. You've analyzed it enough. There's no more. You won first. There's nothing else to analyze about it. Let's move on. But
can you describe the atmosphere of a rodeo?
The atmosphere and the electricity of a sold-out summer outdoor rodeo, you can't beat it. when you ride in the back door, you can feel the pulse of the building and the bang and the noise. And the horses know it. They get amped up and their nostrils flare and vessels pop and everybody's whacked. And it's...
You know, we've had this conversation several times, and he's not sure what, exactly he wants to do. I know that he definitely, will continue to run cattle and ranch and things like that. He really has a passion for doing that. As far as something else, I'm not sure what else he'll do. He has the education and background, so I'm sure he will find something. He turned 40 this year, which I give him a lot of trouble and call him an old man for that. But he turned 40. However, his career started later than a lot of people, rodeoing. So I think that he is possibly healthier than he's ever been, and still bulldogging really well. So, I can't really put a time frame on when he will be done. I think if he has another big injury, I think that he'll be done after that. It's just, hard to come back. I know that it's a lot harder for him to be gone now that we have 2 little boys. It's not near as easy to stay gone, and he said that when Carson starts school that he wants to be home then. So, that's 4 years from now. So, I don't know. I guess time will tell. It's kind of hard to quit when he continues to win and have big wins, so.
Rodeo is a young man's sport, and it all depends on each guy's situation as far as family and whatnot goes. But for steer wrestling, especially for 40-year-old guy, he's starting to get pretty old just because there's so much wear and tear on our body. But Matt, he loves to do it, and he really likes to make horses and see horses do good. So I think that's what keeps him going.
To work his way through the semis, and Matt Reeves with a shot at $1 million.
There you go, 373. He got a great start.
The elder statesman. Well, dreams are coming true here today, winning the American with a 373.
I'm like everybody else. I want to win a gold buckle, and I still think I have some time, but the main thing is you got to feed your family and prepare for your future, and this year's done that more than anything. I don't know. I don't know what win or what accolade or whatnot has necessarily meant the most. The American financially definitely has meant the most so far. Getting to my first NFR was an amazing thing because it's not something anyone ever dreamed of. I mean, people I high school rodeoed with were like, really? We just figured he quit. Like, I was the kid that people ran to the fence to watch in high school because they wondered at what point in the run my father would run over me. And it happened a lot. And it was a wreck. And he ran over me a lot. And it's just one of those things. And stuff. But, I mean, and it's probably not the answer you're looking for, but probably the one thing that, I guess, the one accolade or whatever that's meant the most is people that know me and knew me then. Several of them have said that I guess they've introduced me to their kids and they've been impressed that it's gone to that level. And I guess that, however you want to put it, that, I mean, it's odd that other people think you overcame and you got somewhere they didn't think you'd get. And it's just different because this isn't something that I grew up in. It's not something anybody thought was going to happen. It was probably sheer stubbornness, not determination, but just flat stubbornness that allowed it to. And so the fact that some other people actually have seen it, it is interesting, and that's probably the best thing. I'm ready. All right, here we go. Whoa! All right. Watch where you put your feet on them.